My name is Daniel Walker. I live in a small suburb just outside Los Angeles. I've worked as a high school science teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm the kind of guy who brings his own lunch to work, keeps old family photos in his desk drawer, and still writes thank you notes by hand. I've never been loud, never been flashy, and maybe that's why my father never quite saw me. He was a carpenter, a proud one. Built half the houses in our hometown with his bare hands. He believed in long hours, callous fingers, and never showing weakness. My two older brothers, Jack and Tom, followed in his footsteps. They inherited his temper, his stubborn pride, and his way of taking up all the air in the room. I was the youngest. I loved books more than power tools, quiet over chaos. I stayed home a lot, especially when my mom got sick. I cooked, I cleaned. I drove her to her appointments when no one else could. But Dad, he saw all that as softness. And he didn't value softness. Still, I respected him. Even when I didn't understand him. Even when I sat across from him at the dinner table and felt like a stranger. When he passed last year, it was sudden, a stroke. He went quickly, no long hospital stay, no drawn-out goodbye, just gone. We gathered a week later at the old house, the one he built himself back in 1965. It hadn't changed much. The front steps still creaked in the same spot. The smell of wood and motor oil still hung in the garage. My brothers were there, both dressed like they were headed to a business deal, not a memorial. Their wives sat on the couch, making quiet judgments. I stayed near the back, sipping lukewarm coffee from a chipped mug, watching the lawyer shuffle papers. When the reading of the will started, I didn't expect much. But I'll be honest, I wasn't ready to be completely invisible. Jack got the house, Tom got the lake cabin and all of Dad's tools. A few old bonds and valuables were split between their kids. Then the lawyer closed the folder and said, "That concludes the will." I blinked. My name wasn't mentioned, not once. Not a photo, not a book, not a dollar, nothing. There was an awkward pause in the room, but no one said anything. My brothers didn't even look surprised. I smiled, nodded, made some polite excuse about needing to get back to work. And I left. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. But inside, I felt like something I'd always suspected was finally confirmed. I was never his favorite. Maybe I was never even seen. I went back to my life, taught my classes, took care of my garden, told myself it didn't matter. But 3 days later, I got a phone call from the lawyer's office. He said, "Mr. Walker, I have something here meant specifically for you. Your father requested it be delivered privately after the official will was read. Could you come in alone?" I didn't know what to think. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I walked into his office, my hands shaking just a little. He handed me a sealed envelope. My name was written in my father's handwriting, those square, careful capital letters he used on all our old Christmas tags. Inside was a letter, no "Dear Danny," no warm greeting, just his words, direct and honest. Like him, if you're reading this, it means I didn't find the words in time. You were different from me. I didn't always know how to talk to you, but I saw you. I saw how you stayed with your mother when she was sick. I saw how you never asked for anything, how you carried more than you ever said. The others took what they wanted. You gave without being asked. That's why this is for you. Attached was a deed. It was land to 80 acres in a quiet stretch of Northern California. I remembered it, barely. We used to go camping there once a summer when I was a kid. It had a creek, wild apple trees, and silence. I hadn't thought about that place in decades. I drove up that weekend alone. When I stepped onto that land again, when I heard the birds, smelled the pine, and felt the wind on my face, I cried. For the first time in years, because in that moment, I understood this was his way of saying he knew me. He couldn't say "I love you" out loud. He couldn't hug me or praise me like he did the others. But he left me the one place that matched who I was. Quiet, steady, full of life, but not loud about it. Since then, I've gone up every month. I built a small cabin, nothing fancy. Just enough space to write, to read, to sit by the fire and think. I even planted a tree near the creek with a little sign that says, "Thank you, Dad." I never told my brothers, they never asked. Sometimes I bring my son up there now. We fish, we walk. I tell him stories about his grandfather, the ones that are true, and the ones I wish had been. I try to be the kind of father who says the words mine couldn't, because now I understand something I didn't back then. Not everyone shows love the same way. Some people build their hearts out of wood and silence. Some leave letters instead of hugs, and some wait until after they're gone to finally say, "I saw you, and you mattered more than you knew."